Hey guys, Garrett here, and if you're interested in investing in mobile homes, I want to take you inside and outside of these mobile homes, show you what I look for whenever I am evaluating these mobile homes for investment. First, let's take a look at the exterior of these homes. You're really looking for any damage on the outside, and most of the time that's going to be some sort of water damage. The first type of exterior covering that we're going to talk about is the vinyl siding, and I am not a fan at all. I live in Kansas and there are a lot of hailstorms, so we end up seeing a lot of holes through these, and while they may look nice and they may sound nice, the big winds of Kansas blow them out from the J channel that they sit in. And then, like I said, they get holes in them, and you can't seem to find replacement vinyl siding that is exactly the same color. So you're almost forced to replace an entire side of vinyl siding if you're trying to get rid of all of these holes. Another common exterior covering is going to be this masonite siding. And I don't love these either. These are definitely better, in my opinion, than the vinyl siding, but these have a tendency to rot right along this bottom, or it could be right at the top where that guttering is right there. And if that's the case, you're basically going to have to replace an entire sheet. And they come in 4x8 or 4x9 sheets, so it can be replaced, but it's a fair amount of work to be able to do it. These can be easily repainted, which is nice. My favorite exterior covering is actually just the metal siding. It may not be the most stylish out there, and there may be other options that look better, but I'm looking at it from a cost standpoint and a cost to value standpoint. I don't lose any value by having this metal siding, and I generally don't have to do anything to this siding other than maybe paint it. And I could paint an entire home on the outside with 5 gallons of paint. So I love these. I also love it when it's paired with a metal roof. A metal roof just like the one on this house right here. You know, they're about indestructible. We generally don't have problems with them, and there's very little maintenance that has to happen. You can, and you have probably seen me put coatings on it, and that can definitely help the energy efficiency of the home. But the roof structure itself with that metal roof is absolutely my favorite. The other common roofing material is going to be asphalt shingles, just like this home right here. Generally, they're going to last 20 years, and most of the time that I'm buying these homes, they're at least 20 years old. So if I find one, it's probably going to need to be replaced, and that's fairly expensive to do. That's why I prefer those metal roofs. Take a look at your skirting as well, or whatever the covering is that goes around the outside of that mobile home, covering the bottom section of it. That skirting costs usually between $600 and $800 to replace, and it gets damaged easily with like weed eaters and that sort of thing. It gets a lot of holes in them. So you don't want to leave those holes in place because you can get mice in there as well. And they'll either chew up the bottom of the home, or they'll get into that belly paper and die, and then you've got to wait out that smell of the rotting mouse. So make sure that your bottom covering, that skirting, is in good shape. Also, while you're looking at the skirting, look underneath the home. You want to look and see if that belly paper, there's an actual paper that goes underneath the home that holds in the insulation, which then covers all of your pipes and everything that's within it. So you want to make sure that that is intact. A lot of times there's going to have been water issues in the past, and whether or not those holes were patched up is kind of a mystery unless you get underneath that home. So take a look under there. If you've got big wide open areas, your energy efficiency just goes down the toilet, and if you're in a cold area, your pipes can freeze up really, really easily. So that's something that you're going to have to repair. As we move inside of the home, there's a lot you want to look for. And of course, the first thing you want to look for is anything to do with water damage. So take a look up at your ceilings. Do you see any sort of staining or molding or anything like that, especially at the edge where the ceiling meets the wall? Take a look down below where the wall meets the floor. You want to take your foot, you want to feel all along there, especially underneath the windows. The windows are prone to leak, so feel all along that. You're feeling for anything that is soft, because that means that you're going to have to do subfloor work, which takes quite a bit of time and a bit of expense. Also, take a look at these windows. There should be an inner as well as an outer in most older homes. Are the panes in good shape? Are they cracked? Are ones just completely missing? Each one, an inner and an outer, they cost anywhere, I don't know, $70, $75 a piece. And there's a lot of them in these homes, so this can add up very fast. Take a look at your front door as well. This is a nice steel front door. Not all of them are going to be this nice, but these front doors are very expensive. By the time you do the front door as well as the screen door, it can be upwards of $500. This screen door right down here, as you can see, is completely rotten. So this is going to have to be replaced. That's at least $150. Take a look at these. These are big ticket items. Next, move into the kitchen. Take a look at your cabinets. That's another big ticket item. These are really nice oak cabinets, and they're in really, really good shape. But yours may not be, and that's a very expensive item that you have to do. Take a look at your faucet as well. Is it dripping actively? Take a look underneath. These have a tendency to leak underneath, and a lot of times this floor right here won't even be there because it's been leaking so long that it's basically gone. This one's in really good shape, so it hasn't been leaking much. Actually, it hasn't been leaking at all, so this one's really good. You're going to look for leaks around the drain pipes as well as the water feed lines as well. Take a look at your appliances as well, if they are included within the purchase of this home. So you've got a stove. If it's gas, turn it on. If it's electric, turn it on. Both the oven as well as the burners. Make sure all of them work. Your dishwasher, same deal. Run a cycle. Take this access cover off the front of it and look underneath it. Make sure that it is not dripping. Same deal with this. You know, a lot of times there's this condensate line that gets clogged up inside of these, and they overflow and rot out the floor underneath them. Pull that refrigerator out, make sure that the floor underneath it is in really good shape. Take a look at your HVAC. Make sure that you run both the heat and the cool with these, because again, these are very expensive to replace. So this unit, you want to make sure it's in good shape, as well as the outside condenser unit. You want to make sure that it's actually running, everything is cooling and heating as it should. Most of the time these are good, but make sure you check it. If there's a washer and a dryer, check those. You know, I don't really give them any value add to a home. Most of the time they leak, and so you want to pull those out, make sure that the floor underneath it is in really good shape. If it's not, a lot of times it's going to be rotted or really soft underneath here, which is indicative of some sort of a water leak. And it's usually from this, it's either from these lines right here, or a bad connection right here, or just the drum itself is actually leaking onto the floor. And if I haven't mentioned water enough, water kills mobile homes. So you want to make sure that you don't have a bunch of water issues. If you do, you can obviously repair it, but bathrooms are a very specific source where, you know, there's just water everywhere. So you have your sink here, make sure that it's not dripping. Check all the plumbing underneath it. Look at your floor down here. Again, check near the tub. Make sure that your tub actually works, that everything around it is nice and solid. Look at your toilet. Try to rock it back and forth. If it won't rock, it's good. Feel with your foot. Is the floor spongy underneath of it? If it is, you have a problem. And here we are in a bedroom, and it may not seem like there's a lot to look at here, but again, you want to look at your ceilings, you want to look at your floors. Make sure there are no water issues here. And of course, you're going to have carpet and that sort of stuff. Take a look at your paint, make sure it's all good. But in a lot of these, in the master, that's where the water heater is. And this one is an electric water heater right here. And it's virtually new, so I know it's good. You're going to want to look at the floor underneath it. You want to make sure that it's actually there, because if it's not, or it's just soaked, most likely you're going to have to replace that leaky water heater. And if the water heater is needing replaced and it's gas, it has to be a mobile home specific water heater. And those are usually about twice as expensive as your traditional water heater. At this point, hopefully you've looked at all of the water issues within it. Now it's time to look at the cosmetic issues. So you want to look at paint, see if your paint's decent. Do you have a bunch of holes in your walls? Take a look down. Right here we have a bunch of urine stains, which is just plain nasty. So it's going to have to be completely cleaned up. Look at the floor. Underneath that, the floor is completely saturated with dog pee. And there's no way to get that out. This floor is absolutely ruined, and flooring can be pretty darn expensive. So you're going to have to figure out how much flooring you're going to need. You're going to have to replace it as well. And that is a big expense. In your bedrooms or wherever you may have carpet, take a look at those as well. This carpet is actually only 1 year old, but they were very hard on everything. They were not clean people. So there are a lot of what appear to be stains, but the carpet itself is in really good shape. So we're going to try to have this professionally cleaned and see, hopefully it gets out most of these stains. It's most likely usable again. In the closets of these, a lot of times are the data plate for that mobile home. So this particular one is January of 1984. It's got all the information about it, as well as, you know, HVAC, all that kind of stuff. So you're gonna usually wanna look inside either a kitchen cabinet or a closet. Last but absolutely not least, make sure that you have some way to convey ownership of this new home that you're going to get. In my state, it's an actual title, just like a car. But in some other states, it's going to have to go through a closing company and that sort of thing. With a title, obviously they're going to have that in hand. If they do not have that title, I walk away from all of those homes. Now that you've gone through your home, both inside as well as outside, you should get an idea of what it's going to take to get it going. You're going to have to look at your market conditions to know how much that home's going to be worth after your fix-up. If you are new to this, or this is your very first time doing it, I would actually suggest spending a little more money up front, getting a nicer home to start with, one that takes less work. Less work, less time, less hassle. When you're coming up with your budget, don't forget to factor in lot rent as well as any utility payments that you have to pay. That lot rent can actually eat you alive, so you may want to negotiate with the park manager. A lot of times if you're doing a fix-up, you're actually adding value into that park. They'll give you a couple months of free lot rent. Be realistic with your timeline. It's going to take you probably longer to turn these homes than you think. And again, that lot rent can really rack up. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit that like button down below as well as subscribe. I'll see you next time.